10 years ago when I began chanting. I meditate and practice Nichiren Buddhism. And so that's really what awakened my own inner voice. So that's the first thing. It's just a little bit about my own journey and chanting and how that allowed me to tap into these other states. So the first time I chanted was 10 years ago. I celebrated my 10-year Gohonzon anniversary, April 9th. And so the first thing that I noticed after I started this meditation technique, first of all, just about chanting, the mantra that I use is Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. It's a 6-syllable phrase, so it's pretty easy. It's pretty short. And I had only said the mantra a few times, and I noticed immediate differences. So that's the first thing I like to talk about, is just how easy it is. It doesn't take years or lifetimes or hours of meditation. It just took me sitting down, setting an intention, and saying a 6-syllable phrase. The next day after I did that, I woke up and my roommate was in the bathroom and he was making some noises. I don't even really remember exactly what he was doing, but it was really annoying. And it was pissing me off. And I remember sitting down and I could hear the different parts of my brain. And it might be the first time that happened. I'm not quite sure, but it's the most distinct time, the first time that this happened. And so I could hear myself getting mad at him. And I was even like scheduling my day. I was like, I'm going to be mad at him all day. And I could hear this angry masculine voice kind of coming from the left side, working myself up. But then out of nowhere, seemingly, this other voice came and she was gentle, she was nice, and she was kind of on the right side. And she said, but you don't have to. I'm going to be mad all day. And she says, but you don't have to. And I did it. I spent the rest of my day doing whatever I wanted to. I wasn't stewing. I didn't have that on my schedule. So that was my first experience, hearing those different realizing that there was a different option than only just listening to this critical voice. And we love the ego, we love the left brain, but there are times where that criticism gets in the way or that judgment can get in the way. So we want to kind of let this guy, we want to kind of just get him over to the side so we can invite this lovely higher self, the subconscious mind, the soul, the Buddha nature, whatever you want to call this kind voice, so we can invite them into the picture and that they can have the microphone for just a little bit. Because if you think about it, the ego gets the microphone pretty much all the time unless we make an effort for, to bring in a different part. So that was my first experience with that. I've had other experiences where I've heard those voices and they've given me specific information. So I remember one time I was brushing my teeth and I found a cavity. And I was thinking, oh goodness, this cavity is on one of my front teeth. I don't want people to see this cavity. And I heard, if you want to save your teeth, use coconut oil. And sure enough, I used coconut oil and that cavity healed, which they don't tell you is possible in mainstream medicine, but that was my experience. So that was the first real, transformative experience that I had as you tap into those inner voices. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is just what we use our intuition for. And really everything. What do we not use it for? The common types of areas that people come to me as clients are, they want to know about their health. They want to know, what can I do to improve my well-being? They want to know about their careers, their relationships. They might even want to tap in and start channeling information for other people. Let's see, what else do we use it for? I mean, really anything. Yes, no questions. Today, do I feel more like going to, I have one client that travels different states. So she's constantly, well, should I go to Flagstaff or should I go to Sedona or should I go to Denver or should I go to, and so we'll tap into the higher self in order to give those encouraging messages. Which pathway seems more aligned right now? The next thing that I wanted to just touch on is how we recognize signs. And this is interesting. And if there's anybody, you feel free to jump in with how you recognize signs for your intuition. I know a lot of people receive messages through their body. So goosebumps. Um, I know sometimes I'll get my third eye will just start burning or get warm. Synchronicities. You might notice you see five things popping up, all similar. So you notice to get an idea to look at that. Ears ringing. My best friend, she gets the ring of truth. If she hears something that is true, she'll get it ringing in her ears. Me, I just break down crying. So when I'm tapping in, sometimes I'll be, sitting with my best friend and I was looking over at her and I just started noticing she looked different and I could see her in a different form. I just started crying and I said, "Oh, like when you were in that past life, when you were an advice columnist." And I just started crying, which is how I knew I was tapping into an actual past life memory of hers or past life of hers. And we were able to explore that more.
Can you see the chat, Julia? We put in I hear song messages. Sometimes if
Oh, yeah.
there's looping lyrics in my head, I finally tune in. I'm like, oh, what is that song? And what are those lyrics? And then
Yeah.
animal messengers.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was going to give a little example. Recently, I had a client, she messaged me and we were just chatting. It wasn't a formal session or anything. She was just telling me that she really liked my story about a four-leaf clover. She said, "I used to find four-leaf clovers all the time. It was like her superpower." She said, "But I haven't found any in about 2 years." I feel blocked. It was kind of a nebulous. We don't know what that is. We're not sure what's going on. I feel blocked. I said, "Well, do you want to play a game? Do you want to do something?" I asked her first, "Do you want to book a session?" She said, "Oh no, my husband would never let me." Okay, well then do you want to play a game? And just by texting, we were able to see the blockage. She said, "Imagine what that blockage looks like." She met a third eye, or she met a guide who activated her third eye. They removed the blockage. And then, about 2 weeks later, maybe three, she sent me she had a picture of 31 clovers that she found in one day, in one sitting, in a 6 by 6 inch area. So talk about, removing the blockage. So we can use intuition for all kinds of things. And she's noticed that abundance working in other ways in her lifetime, in her conscious awareness as well, besides just finding the clovers. The first thing that I wanted us all to do, and Lily even mentioned this a little bit, is setting an intention. So that way later when we explore, you can get those messages. I really find that setting an intention helps. It helps us not just get the information, but it helps us understand it when we're getting it. Let's see, there was someone in our QHHT class, and he went into his session and he had a great session. He saw lots and lots of different lifetimes, but he didn't understand it. He said, "I don't understand. I was just seeing, it was just nonsense. It didn't make any sense." And he kind of dismissed it as unimportant that he'd seen so many lifetimes until Julia Cannon asked him, "Well, what was your session intention?" And his intention, he said, "Oh, well, I wanted to know how many lives I'd lived." And then it hit him, "Oh, that was a direct answer to my question. You're seeing just so many life after life after life after life after life." There's his answer. So it helps to set an intention, and then that way you can receive the information and understand it. And I also tend to think that, we can talk to anybody. We just have to have the right alignment. You just have to have the right question. So if you have a question for a spiritual master who's passed or is living, you can ask. And if it's an aligned question, they will answer you. It's interesting how that, the intention triggers the result. So don't be scared to do that. Here's my top 10 list on ways, tools to do these things. So my first one was meditation. Mine's chanting, any form of focus. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be long. There are benefits to doing longer forms of meditation, but as far as jumpstarting that intuition, I just use a 6-syllable phrase. Om. Om is a 1-syllable phrase. It doesn't have to be difficult. You just have to schedule a little bit of time to do it. That's the easiest way that I know how to do is sit down, say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo a few times, and then I'm automatically in a different state. The number two that I like is imagination. Oh, and for all of you, I have this, I just put it on my website too. So I have all these notes after we're done. Feel free to look over them. You don't have to worry about remembering everything now. And I may or may not get to everything. So it's all there for you if you need it. But number two is imagination. And I can't overestimate how important this is. The imagination and intuition go together. You have to let yourself journey in order to get the information. And so many clients say, well, I feel like I'm making it up. That's okay. If you feel like you're making it up, that is the perfect state to be in. If you're doing hypnosis or if you're doing intuitive work, let yourself make it up. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be 100% accurate or 100% correct, but you can triangulate from the information you're getting. You can get more, the important stuff will stick around. You'll get that information more than once. You know, it's like when I did my first QHHT session, they ask, you know, after we've done an induction and meditation and they are bringing me into the past life and they say, well, look at yourself. Oh, look at your feet. Are you wearing, what shoes are you wearing? And in my vision, I could see two different kinds of shoes. I could see a woman's shoes and I could see a man's shoes. So what do I go with? I just went with what was my first and most profound, the most concrete impression that I got was of the female shoes, was of a lady. And so I went with that. But guess what? Later on, I got to experience that man's life too. So it wasn't like I would be wrong if I went with William's life over Sarah's lifetime in that particular experience. You just have to allow yourself to make it, quote unquote, make it up, and that information will stay. If I had just been like, well, I don't know, and just shut myself down there, and a lot of clients can do that. we have the tendency to say, well, I don't know, and we shut ourselves down. So that's where allow yourself to make it up. Number three, it kind of, these all go together. You know, these are all what Bashar would call permission slips. Number three is to bypass the critical mind with speed. Don't overthink it. If you are asked a question and you have, you know, a yes or no answer, just go with the first thing that comes up. Like I said, you can always go back and adjust. You can always bring in more details. But just go with the first thing. I mean, it's really, it goes with a lot of these other things too. You can do deeper meditation. There are some people that journey better with time. So if that sounds completely distasteful for you, don't worry. You can take longer. You can take as long as you need. But I like speed. You can just go right off the top of your head. Let's see here. Oh, and number four, think in terms of options. Like I said, when I was looking down at my feet, did it look like, what did my shoes look like? Did it feel like a man? Did it feel like a woman? So in our QHHT sessions and in our BQH sessions, a lot of times we'll ask people these questions and give them just a couple of options. And you can do that for yourself too as you're journeying. So I gave a couple examples in my notes here about if you're looking for an object, you know, where did I put my keys? You start with something simple like, well, are they out in the open? Or are they covered up with something? Are they obscured? And try to triangulate where does it feel more like this, or does it feel more like this? And giving yourself usually two options, but there's infinite, just to give yourself a framework to start. And that's what I would call those, is just having a framework. You going through a rhythm. Oh, well, do you feel like a man? Do you feel like a woman? Do you feel like you're indoors? Do you feel like you're outdoors? You can even do this with your starseed lineage. So if you want to know about another lifetime that you've had on another planet, you can simply start by looking at your form now, this human body, and then asking, okay, well, if I'm tapping into another, an alien life form, an extraterrestrial, a different perspective, let's start by looking at that form. Am I larger than a human? Am I smaller than a human? and go from there. Same thing with things like skin color, you know. What color is my skin? We've got the rainbow of options there. But you can do this with anything. So those are just some examples that using what I would call the minimal pairs, this or that, yes or no, higher, bigger, smaller, comparison. It really starts to jump. It gives you a framework within which to trust the information as you're getting it. Number 5, and I say each one of these is the most important one. Number 5, releasing expectations. This is maybe the hardest one because we don't know what our expectations are until we've encountered them. A lot of times people think intuition or hypnosis or the higher self has to come through in a certain way. If it doesn't come through in this way, then they just dismiss it. So I see this a lot with hypnosis because hypnosis has a lot of stigma around it. People think of it as very specific, and hypnosis is very broad. You don't have to be in a deep state where you don't remember everything, or they call it somnambulism, where you're, sleepwalking. Those can happen during hypnosis sessions, but that's not the norm, and nor is it necessarily preferable. So I just want to let people know I can see people actively in REM states with their eyes moving who come out of that session and they say, "Oh no, I wasn't hypnotized." That happens all the time. And I'm watching them. I'm seeing that they're hypnotized. We'll say, "Oh no, I was just making it up," or "Oh no, I didn't go anywhere." So I just want to re-emphasize that you don't have to, hypnosis and intuition, it doesn't have to be a loud voice. I didn't hear those voices with my ears. I heard them with my soul, but they were louder. I could understand the information more easily as I was tapping in than before. So it's not like I'm hearing it with my ear, although some people can. Same thing with visualizing. Some people don't visualize an object. But if I ask you, in the QHHT program, say, can you see a red bird? If you can see a red bird, can you describe a red bird? Then you can visualize, even if you're not seeing it with your eyes. Let's see here. Number 6, art. Just art, the category of art, creativity. You can pair art with any of these others. I really like to pair art with speed because it allows us to not overthink it. There's a technique called 10-second drawing, or however long you want to set that timer for. But 10 seconds, you set your intention, what object or feeling or what you're going to draw, set the timer, and then just go for it. And it's amazing how that really captures the essence of what you're trying to draw, and it brings you into a state of intuitive understanding. I mean, almost instantly with art. The other exercise I was going to mention, I wish we had just tools and time, and maybe we can do it some other time, is painting your name on a piece of paper with like thick ink or paint, and then folding it. It's like a Rorschach, like an ink blot, but it has your name. So it's a really fun, interesting, no pressure, no judgment. You can't get it wrong type of an intuitive art that can get you right in that to where your creative juices are flowing. Number 7, these are just tools, all tools, tarot cards, the I Ching, divination tools, what's up, Ouija. There's just a million tools that you can grab a book, just a book from next to you, open it up and find a word. And that's a divination tool. And then you can ask, well, how does this word make you feel? What do you think about it? What does that remind you of? And go into deeper states of understanding without having to have, a specific tarot card deck or one of my favorite divination methods is the I Ching. It's just so specific and so much variety for a divination tool. So I like to use the I Ching, and there's an online version at Cafe Au Soul, I think it's called, that I like to use. Number 8, anchors, keywords. basically, they're just ways to remind you that you've gone into another state. So when you're in a really happy state, you can link a word to that state. I heard of somebody who anytime they had a little clicker device, and anytime they had a happy thought, they would click that little device and anchor in that feeling. So I really like that one. At number 9, writing. There's so many sessions that the higher self says, write every day, write in a journal, write it down, write your dreams, write. There is something magic that happens when we write. I don't even claim to understand it, but neurologically, there's something special when you're writing. You're already engaged in that intuitive state. You can't help it. So, writing. And number 10, and this, I think this one's probably my absolute favorite, is speaking in the third person. You can trick, I don't want to say trick, you can initiate higher self communication simply just by speaking in the third person. And that is probably the tool that I use most often, that I encourage the most, is just, allow yourself to talk about Julia for a while instead of I, that man that has the microphone, I. We can just let him to the side and we can talk about Julia for a moment. And as we talk about Julie, we can realize, well, as she's running into this obstacle, what she's really encountering is a fear of being seen. And as we talk about that, then it helps release that, it helps bring it out in the open. And, in BQH sessions and QHHT sessions, we specifically ask to speak with the subconscious mind or with the higher self. And so speaking in third person really triggers that more than anything. So I see I'm running close to time here. So before we go, I wanted to do a quick example or quick exercise of how easy this is. And so get into a comfortable position, take a moment to set that intention, something that you would like to explore insight into. It could be your health, relationships, challenges, anything that you would like, just a quick message. So I want you to first imagine, that you're outside your home. And just take a moment to imagine that you're outside your home, and I want you to fill in all of the details being outside your home. I want you to notice, what's the weather like? Listen, hear sounds. So you're outside, you're looking at your home from the outside. And now I want you to imagine that you're walking over to how you go in to your home, your door, however you walk into your home, and feel your hand on the doorknob or the door handle. And I want you to feel yourself walking into that home, opening that door, crossing your threshold, walking into that first room. Look around, notice that room. Good job. And now, as you're walking around your home, I want you to find a place in your home where you store things. It could be a drawer, it could be a closet, it could be an extra room, just a place where you store things when you're not using them. And I want you to find that place. And this is going to be a little bit funny. I'm going to ask you in a moment to open up that door, that drawer, that closet, and you're going to look in there. And when you look in there in a few moments, you're going to find something that's unusual, something that you didn't put in the closet or that you don't recognize immediately. So get ready, and I'm going to count to 3 to help you do this. Get ready to open that door or open that drawer, or uncover that place. 1, 2, 3. Open that door, and you're going to find something in there that's unusual or that you didn't expect to find in your closet or in your drawer. And don't think about it too much. Just let whatever comes to your mind come to your mind. and notice that. You go ahead and notice that object, notice that whatever you found. And you can ask some questions for this object. What does it remind you of? What's it like? Does it seem old? Does it seem new? What's its personality like, this object? Does it seem more masculine, more feminine? And I know that's a strange question sometimes, but you can answer it. And finally, I like to ask, does this object, this what you found, does it know you? How does it know you? Does it know you from a long time? Or is it just meeting you right now? And you can explore with this object more and more. This is just a teaser. But this object, this guide, what you found in your closet, it can come with you, it can help you explore. And chances are it already knows you from somewhere and has more information. So we're going to ask this guide for a message. I want you to connect your energy fully with this object or whatever you found in your closet. Connect your energy fully with it. And it has a message for you. So I want you to listen. What does it tell you? What does it say? Good job. Good job. And we can play this game for a lot longer, but I don't want to take up any more of your time. But you can see how easy it is to receive a message from just an object in your closet randomly. All right. All right. How was that? Did people have experiences? What did you find in your closets?
Oh my God, that was amazing, Julia. I found a sword in my closet, and then the sword, the message, there was a message there too. And I'm sure other people found other things. And we're going to go into breakout rooms and be able to share these messages that you received and
Yay.
talk more about your intuition, tapping into your intuition. Thank you for those 10 tips. Those were amazing. I
Thank
loved
you.
them all. And I love your playful, joyful energy, tapping into our intuition. So, Callie, do you want to talk about breakout rooms?
Sure. So this is HerPower Connections, which is equally featuring our community members and their incredible magic, like Julia just shared with us. Thank you so, so much, Julia. I really enjoyed that. I definitely found a little messenger in my cabinet. Um, yeah, and so the other half of this is about you guys getting to know each other and sharing the magic, having an experience with each other. And I would love for everybody, as you go into the breakout rooms, we're going to keep them small. You'll probably just have 2 or 3 people in your breakout room so that you can go a little bit deeper. And what a great place to start. Julia has, just handed it to us that we can talk about what's in our closet, and if it had a message for us, and just explore that with each other. And of course, introduce yourselves, share what you do, where you are in the world, what lights you up. I mean, this is a genuine conversation, so it's not a out of the can, elevator pitch of what your business is. So, leave your nerves at the door and just go in and be real with each other. That's how it works. And expect amazing things to happen, because they always do on these calls. So thank you all for being here with us. And Lily, do you have the breakout rooms ready to go?
I do not, because I have lost control of my computer once again. Oh, hang on, it came back.
Oh, hold on, I can
and
do it.
just to let you know, that was a demonstration of a quantum connect technique. I do 45-minute long sessions, which is, a longer, clearly longer, longer than that. So if anybody wants a deeper taste for that, I'm offering those sessions. This was 10 years.
Welcome back to welcome back to the main room. Did you guys have fun?
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Yes. Yes.
Does anybody want to share with the big group what you got or your message or?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Lisa.
I'll start with something. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Great to be here. I was definitely feeling a bit slow off the mark and kind of feel like I've got allergies today happening, but um, need to get a little clearer. Well, starting to get clearer, but it's really nice to connect with you all in this space. The golden amble that came through to me, and I discussed that with Julia a little bit, is it's like a tool for creation, but also initially I actually got a knife, but then that came in stronger. So um, this anvil, golden anvil, which is actually part of my past, ancient past, and I've seen it before in a vision. It's come through many years ago, but it has inscriptions on it, very ancient. One is a spiral, but it is a tool for creation or tapping into creation, my own creation. But there is also something coming through around the voice because my voice has been stuck for the longest time. So that's just popped in right now. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it with that there. It's worthy of actually like stepping into a little bit more deeply with the mystery of it.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing, Lisa. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I didn't even think about the voice when you mentioned it at first. Good connection.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah,
there's
that
more
just
to
popped in.
discover there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still arriving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Collie, can you share yours? Because I think Julie would love to hear that too.
Oh yeah, I had a little gold star that came in. Felt like, yes, we know each other for a long time, and it came to deliver the message. My intention was I was noticing how I am really demanding immediate proof too frequently in my life and getting disappointed when that immediate proof is not there to validate me. And what the little star had to say was, "You are enough." And yes, I am not enough is definitely a pattern that plagues me. So I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm looking for that validation because I want to know I'm enough.
Gold star.
Gold star.
Good job.
And
That's so funny. As you said that, I just made that connection because I always talk about how I was so hungry for gold stars growing up, again, to prove that
Ooh.
enoughness. So that's really funny now that you mention it, that it was a gold star. Thank you
Yay.
for helping me connect.
we love those gold stars.
Lots of gold stars.
5 gold stars, Collie Rose. I'll give you 5 and then I'll raise it to 10 or 100 or however. Okay. you you'll live as a gold star in my heart always. Andrea, would you like to share yours as well?
Yeah, I had hi everybody. This is Andy from Hungary. Just to introduce myself,
I
Julia, you know
recognize you
me.
now. I'm used to seeing your name the opposite. So
So I had what did I say? It was a crystal, right? Yeah, crystal, like a living crystal.
nice.
And it just got into my field, and then I got a big crystal bubble around me, and then I started to walk up, like in the sky, in the white nothingness, and then I opened the door and then we stopped, so I have to go back and
Yeah.
check my message.
Sounds like the same with Lisa. It's like she was going into another lifetime very organically just by seeing
Yes.
this in her closet.
It's so cool how quickly, we can access this state. And that's kind of what you were talking about earlier with the intuition, right, Julia?
Yeah, I mean, we think that it takes a long time, or we think that it takes a lot of practice, and practice and time does help. I'm not going to minimize, I've been doing it for 7 years now, or 10, depending on how you look at it. That helps, but at the same time, like it really doesn't take that long to just jump in.
Yeah. And you were talking about what was it? Oh, changing your state, and giving yourself permission to change your state and
Yeah.
how to do that. And it can be just as simple as with your simple intention, like, hey, I want to have an answer right now. And how can I get that answer? There's so many different ways, like you said, like imagination, and don't overthink it. And then don't automatically go to I don't know. How many times do people, myself included, I used to say this all the time. I'd be talking to myself in my head and be like, I don't know. And be like, wait, hang on. Is that true? Do you really not know?
Yeah. What I've
Well,
started to do with
boy,
clients is say, well, pretend like you do.
Yeah.
Pretend like you do know and start talking as if you do. And one of my teachers says, pretend that you know, and then pretend you're not pretending.
Yes.
I like that one.
I think you might have had like an offer. Did you have an offer to share with people?
Oh, I do. Anyone who's listening, whether live or replay, is I'm happy to connect for a free intuitive reading, a card pull. I said 3 card pull, but it can be intuitive. It can be whatever, a 30-minute meeting. So if anybody would like to just get together and chat or ask questions about this, feel free. Yeah, yeah. Or if you want to go deeper into what we just did, we can do that for a 30-minute meeting. And then I also am offering a 50% discount code for any of my services up until September 1st.
Oh.
So book it. It doesn't have to be booked before then, but if you're, or, you know, it doesn't have to be scheduled before then, but that's book it before then. Yeah, so 50% off. That's, you know, I value a full price BQH session at $420. So that's a $210 savings. Go ahead and get that while you can. And then I also just have a lot of resources on my website. So visit www.5dexpansion.com. I put that in the chat and it's in the group. To see all the resources. I have this article that has all the tips that we just went over and more. Probably about 3 times as much information. Basically, I have a 2-hour-long presentation about jumpstarting the imagination and intuition that's available for purchase for $15. So just contact me. All those things, message me, send me a Facebook message, send me a message on Gmail, my email's all over my website. So just contact me. Let me know what you're looking for.